introduce the speakers, but I'll wait on that. We do have Jim Edgar with us, as well as Paul Carter, who works out of Salt Spring Island. So they're both here with us today to support us with Avenue and making the transition, or learning about how to make the transition and what's upcoming for the whole EduLINC and Avenue platforms. So I'm sharing my screen now just to let you know what we're going to be doing this morning. So we have a short-ish video that is going to give a bit of the basics. It's called the Avenue EduLINC Learn IT to Teach Project Special Report. And that's just good, I think, to give a bit of an overview of what's happening, what's available with this new project. Some of you may already know these pieces, and if you have seen the film or the video already, it's a great time to also top up that coffee. But I think that'll be a good precursor for the whole session this morning, just to get some of those basic details out. And then we're going to put you into breakout rooms so that you can discuss some of the aspects in the video, including some general pieces around technology. How has that been going for you? What kinds of tips do you have for each other? Where do you still have questions and challenges? And maybe sharing some good practices with each other could really help for your teaching upcoming for the fall. The next piece is I'll formally introduce Jim. And he's going to share with you all some reasons to change from EduLINC or migrate to the new system Avenue and new platform. And then we will follow up with a Q&A with Jim as well as Paul joining in. And they can answer all your questions about the training, how things are going to work, whatever you want to know. They'll do their best to answer any questions. And we'll see where that leads us. We may break out again if you all want to connect with each other once more, but that's how we're going to run this session this morning. So without further ado, I will launch the video here.
In this presentation, we'd like to share with you what New Language Solutions offers learners, teachers, and the funder in the LINC sector. New Language Solutions, or NLS, has provided technology solutions to support settlement language training and adult literacy basic skills since 1984. The charity is governed by a board of directors composed of language training professionals. As the Learn IT to Teach project, a skilled team has been funded by IRCC since February 2000.
It's Cindy here. The video is not showing.
Open source learning management systems.
Julie, you just need to do a new share, that's all.
Just one moment, please. Okay, thanks for the feedback, Cindy. Were you able to hear the video? Yeah, okay, but not see it. So let me reshare it. Okay. Try again. Yeah. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see it. The video's going.
To share with you what
and we can hear it.
Solutions offers learners, teachers,
Perfect.
and the funder in the LINC sector. New Language Solutions, or NLS, has provided technology solutions to support settlement language training and adult literacy basic skills since 1984. The charity is governed by a board of directors composed of language training professionals. As the Learn IT to Teach project, a skilled team has been funded by IRCC since January 2010 to provide an open source courseware is based and how they work with each other on online learning or training programs. Our project team is comprised of an expert group of learning technologists, programmers, and language training professionals deeply grounded in the LINC sector. From 2010 to 2020, our LMS solution has been called EduLINC. As you'll soon discover in more detail later, EduLINC is in transition to a new solution for the sector, Avenue.ca. The Avenue Learn IT to Teach project is a direct service provider to the 350 or more frontline organizations that provide IRCC-funded language training. We serve learners through our provision of e-learning courseware. To encourage and support LINC professionals to put the courseware to work, we provide teachers and managers with 5 stages of professional development, plus live help in-service support for day-to-day issues. This slide represents the values landscape of the future we are working to make possible. We express these values by using non-proprietary technology solutions wherever possible. Moodle, our learning management system of choice, is open source software. It's not owned by anyone, and we pay no license fees to use it. Instead, we participate in a worldwide community of about 3 million educators engaged in using Moodle and supporting its development. We are also able to take advantage of the proliferation of free or nearly free applets like H5P and hot potatoes. On this slide, you can see the interlocking resources on which the learner courseware is based and how they work with each other. Today, we provide teachers with a starter course to match the CLB level of their learners. And we train teachers to become course editors so that they may take control of their courses and adapt them to their specific teaching preferences. Teachers have the freedom to create or customize content to meet the particular needs of their learners, including the option of selecting material relevant to the community in which their students have settled. LINC teachers from CLB 1 to 7 levels have access to our collection of several hundred learning objects. Learning objects are practice and assessment items that combine to support a single learning objective. For example, here we're looking at an example of a CLB learning object on business meeting etiquette. All the services we provide are fully funded by IRCC and free for LINC professionals and programs. We host the courseware and the learning objects, and we provide live help, in-service support in the form of a synchronous chat to professionals encountering any technical or pedagogical issues. We provide 5 stages of teacher professional development supported by our expert mentors and educational technologists. Stage 1 is 2.5 hours, where one experiences the courseware from the learner's perspective. Pre-stage 2 is 2.5 hours. On completion, teachers get a starter course. Stage 2 is 20 hours, Introduction to Course Editing. Stage 3, 30 hours, is Advanced Course Editing. Stage 4 is 35 hours and involves e-learning resource development. A 5th training stage, Learning Technology Innovation Leadership, or LTIL, offers coordinators or lead teachers an opportunity to learn about the services and products of the project. Participants also learn about the theory and practice of leading technology innovation locally, all while engaged with other professionals across Canada in sharing barriers, challenges, and opportunities related to innovation. Avenue is IRCC's new Moodle-based National Learning Management System for English and French settlement language training. Unlike EduLINC, the Avenue site includes a web portal which all users will log into, and from there, They will be able to access the Learning Management System and other IRCC national resources, such as Tutela. The portal will also include training materials and custom web applications, including the long-anticipated and much-needed e-portfolio. EduLINC has stood the test of time, but it definitely needed a fresh look. Most importantly, it needed to do more. The Avenue LMS will run on the latest version of Moodle, which will include new activities such as the workshop module and improvements to existing activities such as H5P. Better support will be available for PBLA as more content is released and it becomes aligned with the new curriculum being developed by a national partner. Avenue will offer more tools to administrators and teachers, including a user account manager, giving teachers control over their course enrollments, student accounts, and making it easier to move students between classes. Avenue will be more secure than EduLINC, and it will have better support for mobile learning. Planning for Avenue.ca has been going on for several years. Development began a year and a half ago and has followed a carefully designed work plan. We were ready to start piloting in March, but suddenly our plans changed, as did everyone's. Just as the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted LINC classes, it also impacted our Avenue work plan and timelines. Overnight, online teaching became the only way teachers could provide their students with the language instruction they needed to pursue their settlement goals. While other options were available to facilitate online learning, NLS's robust and settlement-focused EduLINC LMS was the only one with content aligned with the Canadian language benchmarks and activities and resources that support portfolio-based language assessment, or PBLA. The need for remote and online learning spiked in LINC, and since mid-March, our team's primary focus has been supporting the EduLINC Learn IT to Teach community. We have seen the use of EduLINC grow more than sixfold since early March. The suspension of F2F, or face-to-face classes, represents several special and unexpected challenges. Supporting teachers with limited technical skills. The individual need of teachers adapting courseware intended for blended learning to an online distance modality. The team has responded with 3 initiatives. A new Zoom webinar series with a focus on leveraging the teaching tools in EduLINC. For example, the Big Blue Button Virtual Classroom to support the 100% online delivery of settlement language training. 20 webinars delivered from April 21st through June 26th are archived and available to any teacher who wasn't able to attend. A teacher-only discussion forum was created for teachers to go to for support and for sharing ideas. All active EduLINC teachers were enrolled in this forum, which has also been supplemented by links to PBLA and other relevant teaching resources, as well as links to resources suitable to use with LINC learners. Live help hours have been extended by 1 hour per day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The Learn IT to Teach teacher training has experienced a very substantial increase in demand and completion. For example, Stage 1 training uptake has increased by 540%, Pre-Stage 2 by 650%, Stage 2 by 640%. In spite of the increases, our training and support teams still have capacity to take on additional teachers and programs. In spite of COVID-19, the release of Avenue is imminent. On September 1st, the Account Manager application will be available. This tool can be used to set up student accounts, send their login credentials, help with passwords, and enroll and unenroll learners in courses. It will also give teachers access to their students' e-portfolios. Teachers will be able to access Avenue in mid-August to get familiar with the new site and work on their courses. A A learner orientation will be available by September 1st. This video will help learners find their way around the site and will be especially helpful to learners who previously worked on EduLINC. In short, teachers can start implementing Avenue course delivery in September. During the time between September and December, an online Avenue request form will be available. New accounts will be set up, and individual teachers' EduLINC courses will be migrated to Avenue. Development of the portal will continue, and improvements will be made to existing features. All teachers on EduLINC will receive a user account by mid-December. December 23rd will be the last day EduLINC can be used for teaching. Over the holidays, courses will be migrated in late December for delivery in January 2021 as needed. Avenue will officially replace EduLINC at the start of the new year. EduLINC will continue to be available to teachers so they can access course materials during the first 3 months of 2021, but learners will no longer have access. Courses will continue to be migrated as needed. On March 31st, EduLINC will be taken offline. The Avenue site will continue to be improved between September and March. These new features will include a personal storage area for teachers to collect Tutela materials and add them to their courseware. PBLA modules will continue to be created, and we plan to make a custom Moodle mobile app available for Avenue. Finally, an automatic course builder will be available, which will be especially useful when there are more PBLA-compatible modules and online resources. Teachers will be able to browse and select these modules and request a course based on their selections. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. We're excited about Avenue's potential in the IRCC funded language training sector, and we hope you are too. Click the link to get a guided tour of Avenue.ca by Jim Edgar, our project manager of distributed learning.
Okay, so feel free to start posting any questions that you have in
Stage
the
3.
comment box. Right, so I found that very informative. Just to give the basics and the overview, I thought that was I hope that was helpful for everyone as well. And again, as I said, please, if you have questions that are coming to you now, you can post them in the chat box and we will get to those. I'm wondering if we have a poll that we could launch, Tanya. Let's see, I don't see the poll here, but are you able to launch the poll? So, no? Okay. So, and Cindy, are you able to launch a poll, the poll that Tanya created?
Sorry, Julie, it wouldn't allow me to create a poll
Okay.
while the meeting's running.
Okay. So what I wanted to do just before we break out was just find out, and also this is great for Jim and Paul, to find out how many of you are using EduLINC. So maybe you could type in the chat, using EduLINC, or excited to transition, or haven't used it yet, whatever your scenario is. It would be good to get a little bit of a sense of where everyone's at with that. Not trained, using Avenue. Oh, wow, somebody's already using Avenue. Working in different stages, haven't used it yet. Wow, okay, this is really helpful. And Jim and Paul, you can use that information as well, or just maybe review some of that while in the first minute of the breakout. This is very helpful, everyone. Thank you. Used EduLINC, haven't used it yet, not trained, but so stoked to start. Nancy is stoked to start. Fantastic. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to give everybody an opportunity to just connect a little bit on the video and some of the pieces in there. I have a another slide here with some questions on it. So let me share that screen with you all. So in your breakout rooms, feel free to introduce yourselves. There's some questions here. How have your computer tech skills improved since March 2020? And for those who have used EduLINC, how have you adapted the blended learning courseware to make it work for your remote or distance learning, given that the EduLINC courseware wasn't necessarily created for the scenario that we're in now? What are the benefits of using EduLINC in your experience? What are the missing pieces for you? Do you have any other questions regarding Avenue.ca? These are just some suggestions for things that you can talk about in your groups, and you're welcome to take a screen capture of this. I'm wondering if it's been shared properly.
I can see it, Julie.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm
for the
seeing
feedback.
introductions and then the questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Cindy. So feel free to screen capture that, and Tanya is going to support with putting us into breakout rooms, and we'll take 15 minutes.
Okay, so I hope those breakouts were useful for you all. I popped into 3 different groups and I heard some good conversation, and I really liked Raymond's last question. How do you share slides from your screen? What's your method? It's a simple question, but it's, you know, very interesting to hear what other people are doing. What's the method? Because I think sometimes you think, okay, I'm using this method, but is it the ideal method for doing what I'm doing? And it's helpful to talk to people about that. So hopefully that was useful for everyone. And again, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I will be monitoring those from now on. So I'd like to now introduce Jim Edgar, who's joining us all the way from Ottawa. And Jim is the lead educational technologist and manager of distributed learning for Learn IT to Teach and Avenue.ca. He's worked on numerous technology-focused language training projects in Canada and internationally, and he has been a Moodle enthusiast since 2004. Jim's credentials include a master's degree in educational technology and a TESOL Canada certification. And he has been super busy with the launch of Avenue and getting teachers ready and just migrating systems and everything. So I'm really grateful that you could be with us today, Jim, to present some of the reasons that we should migrate to Avenue. So you should have the capability there, Jim, to share your screen with us. And you can feel free to tell us a little bit more about yourself if you like as well. Take it away, Jim.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Julie. I'm sharing my screen, and I'm just going to open up this. My PowerPoint's in a PDF. Can everyone see it okay now?
I can see it well. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and I see some thumbs up.
Well, I don't want to talk about myself because you did a more than an adequate job.
Feel free to take it away as you like.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why you should move to Avenue if you're on EduLINC. And we'll start with this table. It compares EduLINC and Avenue. EduLINC was set up 10 years ago, now runs on Moodle version 3.1. By comparison, Avenue is newer and runs on the latest version of Moodle. When learners arrive at EduLINC, they log directly into a basic Moodle site. Avenue users log into a portal with custom applications and a custom user interface. It's very, very nice, actually. It uses parallax. EduLINC users get generic numbered accounts. Avenue uses individualized accounts for greater security, so everyone gets a unique password. EduLINC was designed to support best practices Using the LINC classroom activities books, which were released in 2009 and 2010, Avenue is designed to support PBLA. Both sites are support 4 skills, but Avenue has the added advantage of offering all the new PBLA content that's being produced. One major advantage of Avenue over EduLINC is it's a one-stop shop. Both the learner courseware and the training materials are on the same site. Teachers do not have to log into a different website than EduLINC to access the Learn IT to Teach training. The single login will also provide access to other tools and resources such as the Tutela collection and file storage. More on those a little bit later, but I think it's great if we have, the fewer passwords we have, the better. The fewer logins, the better. The training on Avenue has been updated. It was due for a major overhaul, and the move to Avenue was the perfect opportunity. We added a new entry level before stage 1 to make sure participants have the digital skills to succeed in the training. That's been one of the observations of our mentors. A lot of teachers were kind of just dropped into teaching online, but you know, some of them, I'm sure, avoided technology as much as they could, but really it was either sink or swim once COVID hit. So we've added this pre-stage 1 course, which just updates or helps them learn new digital skills for they can use for teaching. Stage 1, thanks to Paul, now includes more opportunities for teachers to see how the courseware can support PBLA. Previously, it wasn't really focused on PBLA. Pre-stage 2 is more Avenue focused, and we made it more compliant with all web browsers. Previously, some participants had issues with it when using Google Chrome, so they'd do some work and it wouldn't get the score wouldn't get recorded, so we needed to try and fix that. We actually replaced a lot of the SCORMs with H5Ps. H5Ps are seem to be less problematic for browsers. The training materials in stages 2 and 3 were updated, of course, to align with Avenue. The focus on stage 2 remains getting teachers up and running with the courseware while making relatively basic edits to adopt it to their local teaching context. Teachers in stage 3 continue to develop more advanced course editing skills. One major upgrade to stage 3 has been the development of a section on teaching fully online. Participants in stage 3 now have the option of choosing assessments related to blended learning or fully online delivery. And we also added a requirement that teachers in stage 3 create an assessment. We figure that should help them with their PBLA, adapting the courseware to PBLA. And stage 4, you don't see the certificate there because it is still on the old training site. It's less, it's more neutral. It's not really tied into the LMS, so we could take our time. Teachers who are using or in stage 4 aren't really losing out on anything because they're still on the old training site. That will be moved this fall. Student accounts. Teachers and learners at the EduLINC site were given, or are still given, generic usernames, teacher and a number, and that's their password and their username. While this served its purpose, it sometimes led to confusion when a student accidentally used the wrong account. I'm sure Paul's smiling because periodically we'd get, even not just students, teachers too, would somehow, a teacher wouldn't change the username or the password rather, and then they would log into somebody's account, and it caused quite a disturbance for us. Users could change their passwords on the old site, but when a student password was lost or forgotten, teachers often had to go to their mentor or live help to help students recover it. This will no longer be the case on Avenue. The Avenue site puts the teachers in control of learner accounts. So the teacher homepage on the portal provides thumbnails of all the courses, of their courses. A sample thumbnail is in the black box on the screen there. There are a series of buttons at the bottom of each course thumbnail, as shown in the red box and enlarged in the green box. The buttons from left to right are Enroll Participants, Class Register, Course Settings, and Go to Course. I'll skip the first one for now, the Enroll Students. I'll come back to that. The Class Register page is still in development. It should be, there will be a version available this month. But this page, Class Register, is how teachers will be able to access each learner's e-portfolio, edit their user accounts, and perform other administrative tasks. The Course Settings button will be used to enter details about the class, such as the name, start and end dates, and more. It's also coming. The Go to Course button, the last one, the rocket, jumps directly to the Moodle course page, bypassing the dashboard. So the first button is how some of you probably have already tried it. It was released beginning of last week. Clicking the first button opens the Enroll Student panel shown in the blue box. A teacher enters an email address here to enroll the student. If there is already an Avenue account associated with that email address, the student is enrolled in the course. That's it. So it's very easy. Once a lot of students are enrolled in the or registered at Avenue, it won't be, you don't have to create a new account every time or give them a different user account. If a student, after entering the password, if a student's new to the site, the panel in the orange box or yellow box opens. Teachers fill this form out to create the account. The Enroll Student button at the bottom is cut off and can't be seen, but when the form is completed and the button is clicked, an email is automatically sent to the student with his or her login details. So it is better, not 100% necessary, but we would like you to register the students with a proper email address. We have a fake mail.ca domain you could use if necessary, but this is kind of a requirement in 2020. When you got to have an email address, and you need to know how to use it, and it's a service to the students if you can teach them if they don't have this. The email that is sent to them includes a link to a short video introducing the site. Now in this form, the only required fields are the email address and the first and last name. So you don't have to fill out the city or the time zone, but it's probably a good idea. Students can do it in their Moodle profile. Some students will really struggle with that. That's why we've put these fields in here to make it easier. Unlike EduLINC, where teachers would know where it would be easy for the teachers to log in as the student. It would be a lot of work too. This way they can do, put the courseware level and all in this one screen. This is also the same screen when they go to the class register and they want to edit the profile of the student or edit their account if they forgot their password, for instance, or they want to change their email address. This is where the teacher can do this in a similar form. So that's a much more sophisticated and modern way to register students. Now, switching from EduLINC to Avenue has been really quite seamless. The LMS, this was in the discussion about, both sites use Moodle, so it's not difficult to get oriented to the site. We provide teachers with a 13 or 14-minute video explaining similarities and differences in Moodle between EduLINC and Avenue. And if teachers want their EduLINC courses migrated, we take care of that after they fill out a request form. We have a custom application called Migratron that we do that for. We just enter the course ID and it gets switched over, and then we do some minor modifications to the course to make it more work better on Avenue. For example, we'll change the courseware help block so it's no longer taking students to EduLINC help. So that is a little bit about the course migration. Now, this is probably what many of you came for, the e-portfolio. Perhaps the e-portfolio is the biggest reason teachers may want to switch to Avenue. There are a number of different e-portfolio solutions available in Moodle. We suggested using simple directories, which students had to adapt and customize or personalize for their learners on EduLINC. It was functional, but it was really a temporary Band-Aid solution. It wasn't, for instance, possible to move students' e-portfolios from one class to another using that very easily. The Avenue portfolio is a custom application specifically designed for PBLA. As you can see in this screenshot, it includes the language companion. Currently, only the Stage 1 companion is available, but soon users will be able to choose between the ESL Literacy Stage 1 and Stage 2 companions. The idea of adding the Literacy Language Companion was suggested in the Avenue Teachers Forum. Because our e-portfolio is a custom solution, in fact, the whole Avenue site is a custom solution developed by our team, we are able to implement these types of suggestions when it's feasible. It's not always feasible, but when it is, we'll certainly put your suggestions to work. One other thing we are looking into enabling. Sorry about that. One other thing, we're looking into enabling annotations in the e-portfolio, so students might be able to mark up pages. That's not there yet. We'll certainly work at that. Similar to the way you would annotate an assignment in Moodle when you have that tool. So artifact, one of the questions I saw on the board, the chat board, was about artifact collection. Artifacts can be uploaded manually using an upload button. Teachers or learners can do this. Teachers might want to do this, for example, to give feedback on an artifact. Artifacts will also be able to be collected automatically for some types of activities, such as assignments, quizzes, and forum postings. And more activities can be added to the auto collection system as the need arises and requests come in. When teachers want artifacts to be collected automatically, they must tag the activity with the word e-portfolio and a language skill, as shown in the image on the left. So this image on the left is just at the bottom of all of the course activities. Really, when you go into edit, you have the tags. So if you tag it e-portfolio and reading, then when a student completes it, it'll be added automatically to their e-portfolio. If an artifact is not related to a language skill, it can be tagged with other. We also are adding a tag the tag About Me, again as a result of community input. The same tags can be applied to artifacts uploaded manually, as well as the course it is associated with. The screenshot on the right is a sample template. When artifacts are automatically collected, they are inserted into a template before being added to the ePortfolio. Here is a sample ePortfolio page. Artifacts are presented as thumbnails. These artifacts are color-coded based on language skills. The gray toolbar at the top provides buttons and filters to change how and which items are displayed. The button on the right is for uploading manually. So this button here is how you would upload manually. And these are for sorting, and these are filters. So if you clicked listening, you would only see listening artifacts. I guess the best thing is to experiment with that. Now this is a close-up or an expanded view of a thumbnail artifact. The artifact information is displayed in the main body of the thumbnail. Each has a skill icon, the assignment name, the course name. There's a file icon as well. The date stamp shows when it was added to the ePortfolio. And at the bottom, interesting, is a preview button and a download. So teachers or students can preview their artifacts. And here is an artifact preview. The item on the left was auto-collected from a Moodle speaking task, so they can click on it and listen to it in their ePortfolio. And the item on the right was auto-collected from a reading, I think it was a quiz. Okay, enough about ePortfolios. More activities are available on Avenue. The lesson activity allows developers, teachers to create a lesson that becomes individualized for the learner. It's a tool for adaptive learning, really. Read Aloud is an activity designed to assist teachers in evaluating their students' reading fluency. Students read a passage set by the teacher and record it into a microphone. Later, the teacher can mark words as correct or as incorrect and get the students. This is a new term for me, the WCPM, words correct per minute scores. This is from Moodle. This is a Moodle activity. Word cards are coming soon. This activity enables teachers to create custom word card games for encouraging students to learn new vocabulary. H5P has replaced the H5P interactive plugin. I'll talk a little bit about this in a minute or two. The workshop tool is designed for collaborative learning. This is a really good one, I think, for PBLA. It facilitates the collection, review, and peer assessment of student work. We'll be offering a webinar to help teachers get started with this later this month, so you can watch for that. I think this one will be an important one to add the auto collection to as well. And the attendance register was on EduLINC, but unlike EduLINC, it's now in all of the courses. When we migrate a course over, we add the attendance register. It tracks the time learners spend in their course. You can show it for students, and they'll only see their own time in the course. Very handy, you know, if a student questions, well, wondering why they're not making progress. A lot of times it's related directly to how much time they spend in a course. The game module has, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it is an activity that allows teachers to quickly create word games such as crossword, hangman, and cryptex from a glossary or a multiple choice quiz. All of the EduLINC courseware came with glossaries, and games was on there, but one of the issues was the items in the glossaries were not formatted in a way that was compatible with the game module, so they couldn't be used. We did have a special glossary formatted for games, but it wasn't used much. So this has been fixed in Avenue, and now teachers can create glossary games using the standard glossaries. These glossaries have been categorized by SCORM activities, so teachers can easily create follow-up vocabulary to SCORMs that their learners do. H5P is becoming a standard activity and integrated into the Moodle core, much like other standard Moodle activities. Avenue still supports the old H5P interactive content, but we are phasing it out. And I think eventually it won't be supported at all in Moodle. It won't be us that does that. It'll be the Moodle headquarters. H5Ps in new courseware and PBLA modules that we distribute to teachers now all have been upgraded to the plugin. What's so good about the plugin? Well, EduLINC teachers frequently complained the way H5P replaced the gradebook score with the last attempt a student did. Teachers couldn't limit the number of attempts a student could make on an H5P, and they couldn't see the results of all their attempts. So this has been fixed in this plugin, and I think it's a really, I've heard a lot about, you know, this particular issue with the old plugin. H5P in Avenue also uses a content bank, and while the new plugin is in its early days and it's being upgraded with each release of Moodle, it will eventually, the content bank will eventually allow H5P learning objects to be shared across courses. And one final upgrade is the new plugin has the ability to remove all H5P attempts when doing a course reset. If you ever tried to reset a course with H5Ps, it just didn't work. It gave you a message. The teacher's desk, you can see in the green box the link to the desk, and that is your file storage area. All teachers have now access to a built-in area for storing, editing, and sharing files. The screen in the blue box shows the main screen of the desk. The menu and options on the left are similar to a Dropbox menu. Clicking the plus button, seen inside the blue box as well, shows the various options, including uploading a file, creating a folder, as well as the ability to create word processing, spreadsheet, and presentation files, much like in Google Drive. The screenshot in the yellow box shows a word processing screen. This is another tool that just isn't possible in EduLINC, so you can edit your files directly. Avenue is going to continue to improve, and new features will be added in the coming weeks and months. EduLINC is near the end of its life cycle, so we won't be adding improvements to it. You know, what you see now is basically what you get. EduLINKers who change now will benefit from all of the Avenue upgrades in the autumn. Enhancements coming include a new custom mobile app. We've already hired a company in the States. They're starting to build the app for us. Access to Tutela through their Avenue account. So a single login, new PBLA modules, and eventually a course builder. I don't think that will be available this fiscal year. Paul is going to demonstrate a PBLA module he's working on, I think, after this session. And there'll be more of these modules to come. And the Center for Canadian Language Benchmarks has developers working on PBLA modules, and these are added to Avenue when they are released. And the last reason, time is running out on EduLINC. At the end of the calendar year, it will no longer be available for teaching purposes. Making the transition to Avenue now will avoid any last-minute rush into December and January. EduLINC will be available to teachers only from January until the end of March. And questions?
Thank you so much, Jim. That's very helpful. I really appreciate all the effort you put into getting this ready for us, because I think it's very helpful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so we have had so many questions coming in, and thank you, Paul Carter, on the chat box. Paul has been responding to many, if not all, of the questions that people are asking. So that's fantastic, Paul. I'd like to say that Paul has worked in the LINC classroom and with LINC teachers for over a decade, and he is one of the Learn IT to Teach mentors and works with EduLINC projects and soon to be Avenue. He's a live help operator on Learn IT to Teach and a resource developer for new language solutions and a certified Moodle course creator. So thank you also to Paul for answering some of those questions initially. I think I'll just start out for both Paul and Jim in terms of a question. Can you just provide a bit of a framework for us about the training pieces now? Because that was an earlier question that came up. If I've already done the training, can I just jump back in where I left off? Or is there new training that people and new support that teachers will need for the Avenue piece? And if so, where should they go on the New Language Solutions Learn IT to Teach webpage to find the training that they need for now? And those Zoom webinars as well. The video mentioned that there was a Zoom webinar series. So where can teachers access all of these things if they're especially new?
Well, if they're not totally new to the project and they want to go to Avenue, the way it works is they fill out a course or an account request, and we set them up with an account on the new site. We enroll them in all of the same training stages that they were enrolled in on the learnittoteach.org, the old site. Now, sometimes, teachers have to use, I guess, be practical. If it's been 3 or 4 years since they've accessed, sometimes it's longer, then probably it's a good idea to step back. Even if you're in stage 2, you can continue with stage 2, but I think you should go back and look at the new stage 1 and especially the pre-stage 2. So we don't push teachers back. Now, if teachers were in stage 1, that's all they've done, and they did it a few years ago, we would recommend they start over, start from the beginning. We give them, if they're in pre-stage 2, we give them the option, where they want to, if they want to repeat the stages, and that they have their mentors. Now, to guide them too. The training webinars are all on the EduLINC site in the teacher forum. There's a teacher forum on EduLINC, so you can find those webinars there. And I believe they are on the portal as well. Maybe they're not. I have to check.
Oops, I was muted. When you say the web portal, Jim, does that mean the Avenue.ca, right?
No, learnittoteach.ca.
Okay.
So that is we're still using that old portal.
Okay, so, and when will the actual shift be to using Avenue.ca?
I would say in the winter.
Okay. So for all of you who have not used this portal yet, this is the current Learn IT to Teach portal, and then they would go in for the training in the Zoom webinars under teacher training. Is that correct?
I don't actually look after the portals, so
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
it's
believe
there.
that's-
I think they're going to have to go to EduLINC.ca or .org to get
Okay.
to the.
Okay.
So there's
So-
a in the lower right corner, in the lower right of your screen, you can see the link to. Well, now you've gone down. So up top,
Mm-hmm. These ones?
EduLINC.org. Yeah, if you click that, you could log into LINC courseware.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah, I just know that for when it's for those that are new to it, there are lots of different pieces, but yeah, there's lots of information in here that you can all peruse if it's very new to you. Okay, so we do have time for some more questions before we send out the survey for this event. And I'm sure there are just so many questions. I think it's useful to know what's next, what's upcoming, what are the other pieces, and what supports are available, given that we will probably run out of time for all the questions. But you mentioned, yeah, there's those webinars. And did you mention as well there would be another training coming up?
on workshop.
A workshop.
Yeah, we'll start our webinar series again in September. I'm just kind of waiting till the dust settles on the portal, so because that's probably the most important area we need to do a webinar on. But the developers are, chugging away at it. But there's a few pieces that we'd really like to have before starting webinars on the portal.
Okay, that makes sense. So thanks, Paul, for all of your links here. These are really helpful for everyone, and we'll save this chat as well. So hopefully if you can't grab those links now, you can catch them later. And also the teachers only forum. Yeah. Someone asked, could you speak about BBB? Paula, I don't know what that, do you mean PBLA?
Big Blue Button.
Or Big Blue Button, yeah, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that acronym. Could you speak about Big Blue Button?
Well, Big Blue Button is a virtual classroom, and it has many of the same features that we're doing in Zoom. It's in all of the courseware. When you request a new course, you get a link to have your own Big Blue Button. There is training for teachers and for learners in the courseware help. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, well, Paul is going to be touching on that this afternoon in his session. So for those of you who are interested in learning more about that and some updates on that piece, hopefully you can tune in at 3 o'clock today. And that's going to be new. Yeah, is that you,
Sorry,
Paul?
Julie. I was just gonna jump in there if it's okay.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Thanks very much for doing this, Jim. Just to bounce off anyone who was at Lisa Herrera's presentation yesterday, she talked a lot about how to keep online assessments free of plagiarism, cheating, help from family, that kind of thing. And Big Blue Button is a fantastic solution for that. You can have your students on the screen while they're doing the assessment, so you can watch them, see what they're doing, and make sure that they're actually doing it of their own resources, not using external help. So just to on that kind of connecting presentations over the days here, it's a great tool for them. So thank you for that. Carry on.
Okay, thanks, Paul. So yeah, Paul will be with us again later this afternoon from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And he's presenting on new PBLA modules, language skills assessment on Avenue.ca, and going into, he'll show some demonstrations with screen captures and things like that to let you know what's going to be available there and how you can use those, do assessment with the platform. Were there any other questions, Paul, that you think you were not able to answer excuse me, there's, I think there was a question about the activities, or a comment actually about Avenue activities being hard for the level. Why? But I'm not sure. I don't have more context to that question.
Oh yeah, I can answer that. It's
Yeah.
a common question that comes along, and if we can find some humor in this morning, I find it kind of a funny question. I actually had a day on the Life Help where I had a Link 4 teacher call me, and the Link 4 teacher wanted to know what to do because the material was too difficult for their Link 4 class. And so I suggested to them that they could request the Link 3 material and use that with their class instead. And they were content with that, and that's what they did. They ended up getting a multi-level Link 3 and 4, so they could sort of use the Link 3 to get the students going and then move on to the Link 4 to challenge them. And then literally 5 minutes later, I had another call from a different part of Canada. I believe it was the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast. And on the East Coast, the Link 4 teacher, also Link 4, was calling to say that the material was too easy for her students. And so I suggested that she get the next level up, the Link 5 material. And she did the same. She got a multi-level 4-5 and was able to tailor the course to her students' needs. What it boils down to is every group of learner has their own specific needs, their own specific set of CLBs that they excel at or are more challenged at. And depending on your group of learners, we trust the teachers to know what the students are capable of, and we can work with them to provide the courseware that will meet the level appropriately for them. And as Jim had mentioned, teachers can tailor their courses to look any way they like, to function any way they like. And in that way, a teacher can change the name of the course. They may be using Link 3 material, but it can still be called a Link 4 course, so that students don't feel like they've been put back. So we can support. Best thing to do if you're having trouble with the level is contact your mentor. And your mentor can help switch you over. Or come to learnitteach.ca and talk to the Life Help.
You're cutting out
Thanks for that.
a bit there at the end, Paul. Or they should go to a Learn IT to Teach. Could you repeat that?
.ca, yeah, learnittoteach.ca. Yeah. Thanks,
Perfect.
Julie.
Yeah, that sounds, I think that's a very logical answer. And so, yeah, if you move up or down, it kind of sounds like that automatic course builder as well is a bit like an online dating site, the way Jim described it. You can just, browse through all of these different activities and things and choose what works for you. And so it's really nice that that functionality is there. People can move up or down or choose what works for them, pick the activities they want, maybe not use the hangman game for the reasons mentioned in the chat. It could be triggering for some people. I mean, I like how it sounds like everything can be tailored, and you guys are doing a lot of great work there at New Language Solutions, Learn IT to Teach, and it's been really great to have you here to share some of these pieces. I know there's so much more left to learn on this topic, but I hope that this session has been useful for people to get updates on what's upcoming and how you can proceed from here. And just one final question, either for you, Jim or Paul, before we close up, and that is in terms of, we already talked about other training, but in terms of moving forward, people can just sign up, and then there's live help available and mentors available, correct? I know the mentor line is open an extra hour, but it's an Eastern Standard Time. So I'm wondering what kinds of supports are available if teachers need to work or solve a problem in the evening in Pacific Time.
Certainly the teacher forum, that was one of the goals of it, was to make support more accessible. And we'll look at expanding the live help, but it's a big country. There's a lot of time zones, and I don't know if it's in our budget to extend it. We extended it an hour when the COVID crisis happened, but certainly something we should consider. But the Avenue Teacher Forum should help.
Okay,
and
that's a great
the mentors
suggestion.
too.
Yeah, Okay, well, that's fantastic. And that extra hour will and does make a big difference. So thanks for extending that. Well, I really appreciate, Jim, what you've presented today and just all the work you've put into this. And thank you also, Paul, for supporting with the session and the questions. And thank you to the BC Teal team for doing all the work to get this going. And also to all of you for participating. Cindy has posted let's see, did it get buried in there? She's posted a link to a survey. If you could please complete the survey, it takes only about a minute, just to let us know how this session was for you. And that way we can improve things for next time. I'll learn how to play a video with the sound coming from my computer. Thanks for the tip, Jeffrey. And yeah, we'll just keep doing this and hopefully getting better and better and helping you more and more with your LINC teaching. So thank you so much, everybody. And the next session is going to take place at 10:45. It's an effective framework for teaching adult EAL literacy. And then we have another one in the afternoon on the PPLA online assessments, valid online assessments. And then we're with Paul again at 3 p.m. today. So looking forward to seeing you in the other sessions. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.